All right. Here we go. Hey, this is You Can't Make This Shit Up. Your host, I am David Washington. That is Joel Hawksley. Good morning, Joel. Good day.
Good morning. How are you today?
I am alive and kicking as usual. And so let's get right into it. An analysis reveals that while people of color constitute nearly 30% of eligible U.S. voters, they only cast around 22% of votes, indicating significant underrepresentation. Factors like voter suppression contribute to this gap, while white voters disproportionately shaping election outcomes despite their population declining. Black voter turnout, although historically high, declines between elections. Are efforts needed to address barriers like voter ID laws and gerrymandering, increase outreach and election reform, crucial for engaging non-white voters effectively? Let's go. What say you, Joel?
What is voter suppression? I'm trying to figure this one out because I'm reading the article and I'm going, okay, you need a driver's license to drive a car. You need a driver's license for just about, or at least identification. And in the state of Florida, if you're indigent, you can get one for free. So, I think that every time we try to say there's a barrier, we're basically saying that people are not intelligent enough to go out and vote. And I don't want to classify any group of people as not showing up because they're not smart. It's because
Mhm.
they're being told that there's roadblocks that don't exist.
Okay. I'll address the roadblocks,
Hmm.
and I'll specifically talk about Florida, of course. Florida, we recently had new laws that prohibit um, voters who are standing in long lines to vote. I could not come up to them and offer them a bottle of water on a hot August afternoon or evening. There are also, um, I guess, pushback on voter vote by mail requirements. In the past, you can register for a vote by mail ballot, and that registration was good for 2 years, two election cycles.
That
Now
was
you have
three.
to do it every. I'm sorry, three. Okay, two,
Yeah,
three.
I mean,
But
yeah, I
now
understand.
it's just one. You have to do it
Hmm.
every year, and most people, really don't pay attention to things like that. When it comes to registering to vote, there has been legislation that is in front of the courts right now that has been presented in front of the legislature that adds new requirements for those who are registering individuals to vote that make it that much harder. For instance, there's legislation that is in front of the courts that does not allow people who are not citizens to register individuals, residents, to vote. And so things like that type of voter suppression.
I
Um,
don't see any of that as voter suppression.
okay, all
So
right.
let me
I
break that. Let
just
me.
suppression.
There's a lot to unpack. Okay, so listen.
Deterrent.
You used to have an excuse to not show up at the polls.
Hmm.
And that's why it was called an absentee ballot. And there's some states that still require you to give an excuse to actually get one. We have made it easier by creating a system where it's called vote by mail. Now, uh, There are people that have been getting ballots sent to their homes uh, when the people have moved out, and that is an issue with the long-term uh, vote by mail system. It creates people that are living into a new in living in a new dwelling. They get a ballot. They think, "Oh my God, something's wrong here. This person's going to vote twice," or they start to see these types of things as a as an issue, and they address it. So that's why we've reduced it to, each election you need to request it. I don't see none of the things that you mentioned, other than the fact that, yes, if it's hot outside and there is a long line, and okay, so you're not supposed to deliver food or water or anything because basically you're campaigning. If you're a campaigner and you're out there and you're influencing the vote through that, that's the idea of that one. Now, do I agree with that one? That one I would say I probably don't agree with. But look, none of these were suppression. None of these stop an individual from voting. They're excuses for not voting.
Well, you're stifling the ability for individuals to engage in the
To
process.
be lazy.
Um, hey, with turnout in our recent special election being under 20%, there's an argument for laziness. However, yeah, things like that to crush or curb active participation in civic engagement in our civic duties doesn't do well for our democracy. Don't our representative democracy? Don't you think the more involvement in our representative democracy, Joel, the better we are as a nation?
David, we throughout history have broadened our voting. Voting used to be just for landowners. We then give the right to vote to 18-year-olds. We give the right to vote to women. We give the right to vote to the African American. We give the right to vote to, what the next people that are going to get the right to vote are people from any other country because hey, we just want everybody to be involved. I mean, we have a
As long as
border
they're
crisis, right?
citizens,
We
as
we
long as they're
we, we
citizens.
no no no. See, that's not what's happening now. What's happening now is we want all.
The only additional people that we see that are voting more than when they should are the folks who are voting additionally in like the villages, for instance. Voter fraud is very, very little in America. So with us, Joel?
He's frozen on my end.
Oh, he is.
Yeah.
Oh, you're frozen. But anyway, while
I
Joel is
shouldn't be.
oh, there you are.
Okay, now you're back.
You're back.
Yeah, you were out too. So, hey, so all I'm saying is, whenever we expand the rules of voting and give more people the right to vote, less people vote. Not on the initial wave, you get a high turnout, but then you actually get lower turnout afterwards. So what is it? The less restriction, the less rules, the lower the voting. The more rules, the more active the voter is. So this is a double-edged sword, David. We have to emphasize the importance of upholding the integrity of the electoral system just to ensure fair and accurate representation for all votes. Okay? We have to acknowledge the disparities in voter participation by approaching the issue with critical lens to understanding the underlying cause.
Right.
It's just
And speaking
these.
of which, let's go
Mhm.
back to the issues with the blacks. I can say that because I am black. But anyway,
Okay.
so with black people, um, in this particular article, representing 30% of eligible voters in the U.S., but only casting 22% of all votes. We did see recently in South Carolina in the primary vote that black voters did turn out at a rate 13% higher than they did in 2020. So that's a good sign. However, overall, we do have a problem in the black community. Granted, we
So
black Mhm.
Democrats had more black people show up in their polls because it was
Just for
only a
South
primary. It
Carolina,
was only a Democrat. It was only a Democratic primary, right?
right? Just the Democratic primary. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, I
I'm
just
just
wanted to make
looking.
sure.
No,
13% more Democrats came out to vote that were black.
13% more than 2020 in the Democratic primary came
Okay, well,
out
there was no president. There
in
was no
South Carolina.
president. There was nothing special on that ballot, was there?
No, it's just the Democratic primary.
Okay.
Let me finish. What I'm saying is, with this particular issue, with this particular issue of um, black folks only making up 22% of all votes, there was a concern among the Biden administration, the Biden campaign, and the DNC that black folks were not turning out. They weren't going to turn out in South Carolina. And it's an issue for the Democrats because black people are a huge voting block for them,
Yeah, because black people
if
don't
not
like
the
Democrats
base,
anymore.
if not the base of the Democratic Party. And so, with some of the messaging not hitting for black people by the Biden campaign, the messaging by the Democrats not hitting for them
Mhm.
with black folks, they were very, very concerned. Is that concern
Maybe,
still valid? I still think it's still valid. However,
I think it's
South
valid.
Carolina, oh yeah, South
I
Carolina
think it's valid.
did.
I think the Democrats should be very worried that black people
Oh,
are
I agree.
becoming Republican and moving over to the Republican cause, and the messaging is not working. And they can't take their vote for granted anymore, because we're actually outreaching to the African American community, and we're doing a better job at getting African American males to come on over to our party. So, when you have our increase in voter registration being black and Hispanic, and we're being called, all kinds of names. That's something Democrats need to look at. It's not voter suppression that they're losing people. It's you can't take the vote for granted anymore.
I think it's a combination, with stringent voter ID laws, aggressive gerrymandering, and that is an issue. And
I'll let gender. I'll give you gerrymandering.
Even the Supreme Court has stated it's an issue. Okay, by telling Louisiana, Carolina, North Carolina, Florida, um, Texas,
They haven't
Georgia,
told anybody anything yet.
Louisiana, and I
Florida's
already
going to
said
be reviewed.
Louisiana to
Florida's going to be
relook.
reviewed.
No, 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 no. Florida made a preemptive strike because they knew that they were next, and so they
Florida
sat down.
already.
So they sat down
Florida.
with Attorney General um, Bolton. Is that his name or Boulder? Eric Boulder, whatever.
Yeah.
In his organization to come up with some kind of negotiation with Florida in regards to the lawsuit that against DeSantis gerrymandering of the congressional districts.
It's not
So
going to work for this.
they
It's
moved
not going to work for this
they moved
election.
before the Supreme Court said something. The ACLU is also on that case.
But gerrymandering's the same as, so we'll go after the Democrats for gerrymandering in those Democratic states too. So look,
Sure.
it happens. It happens for
I'm
each
just pointing
side.
out that in places like Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia, these issues have been brought to the Supreme Court, and that the Supreme Court
Michigan,
has even said,
Wisconsin, Illinois.
And the Supreme Court has said, no, this cannot fly.
Well, they haven't totally said that
I
can't
don't
fly.
see
It
New
said
York
on
or
certain
Wisconsin.
ones, it said.
I don't see New York or Illinois or Wisconsin's maps in front of the Supreme Court. Not recently. Are they still fighting over
David,
their districts? Yes, in Michigan
David,
they.
when you have a strong Democratic legislature, you have strong Democratic congressional districts. When you have a strong Republican majority, you have uh, a strong Republican congressional
Mhm,
districts.
mhm.
Until you have a system that's not political, that's going to happen. But gerrymandering, I'll give you, but that's not voter suppression. That's
It may
basically
not be
saying,
voter suppression to you, but you know, tell that to the folks in Mississippi.
oh, so I'm not coming out to vote in District 10 because I already know a Democrat's going to get elected.
I'm not coming
What's
out to
that?
vote in District 7 because I know that possibly a Republican's going to win that.
Oh, you said possibly. No, it's definitely going to happen. See, there's a difference. I'm still coming out to vote. It's
So
not going to
will
stop
I.
me from voting. But that's what I'm
So
saying.
will I.
You're saying that it's going to depress somebody from not voting. Somebody might not want
Okay,
Frost, or somebody may not want.
we'll say that as a black man in Mississippi,
Yeah, well, let's see. I mean,
right?
I'm not in Mississippi, am I?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Say that as a black man in Mississippi, and then maybe you will say something different.
I'm
This
not
is
in.
what
Yeah,
they're saying. This is what people in
this is
Mississippi,
what you're
Alabama,
selling.
Louisiana, so forth and so on, even here in Florida, about
Yeah,
the former District 1, I think it was, Congressional District 1,
not not Craigville District 1. That's always been
the former
Gates.
one.
5.
What
Uh,
was it? 5. I'm sorry.
Jacksonville 5.
Right, right.
You
So I
made me
mean,
think, David.
this
That's hard.
that's a good thing. You know, we're doing the thinking for folks who are not voting. Let's just put it that way. But but for from the perspective of the Democrats, and this is where I want to be critical.
Mhm.
Yes, you're right, Joel. The messaging is not hitting. Yes, the Republican Party is attracting black voters and other voters of color and other voters in general because they're able to get a message across that sounds a lot better than a lot of the, you know, cultural social issues that the Democrats are championing. For instance, at the end of the day, and this is what makes in my conversations with black Republicans, at the end of the day, it's not about the color of their skin, of our skin, it's the color of our money. Life gets better when I'm doing well financially. That was in essence what the message was told to me. We do well when we're able to have nice homes, great jobs, able to provide for our families, dress the way we want to dress, eat what we want to eat, vacation where we want to vacation, have good schools. Those things are more important. And when black
Republicans put
Republicans
really good
or
economies in front of them. They like it. They want to go back to it, even though the economy has the right numbers. The people aren't feeling it. And we've talked on this subject before. Biden has a messaging problem because he has numbers on his side, but he has people working multiple jobs. He has people struggling. And the people at the kitchen table, like you say, kitchen table issues, say, this economy sucks. We need change, and we're not
the
getting any.
economy, the economy is working for a lot of people. A lot of people who are not working 2 or 3 jobs. A lot of people who are in the investor class. A lot of people who are reaping the benefits of an economy that's improved since, and the numbers are there. And we could throw out numbers and stats. The numbers are there. Of course,
Nobody
there
will
are
cook.
going
No,
to there's going to be, you know, upswings in the cost of eggs and gas and things like that. That's a food and gas. Those things are volatile. Those metrics are always going to be
only
volatile.
when Democrats are in office are they volatile. They're usually
They're
very
volatile
steady.
during
They're very
a
steady.
Republican.
Yeah,
But
not inflation.
let me get to my
Not
point in
inflation.
particular about inflation is going down, and the Fed is projecting that inflation will go
It's
down even
inflation
further.
is it
There's
won't
too
go
much
down.
money. There's
It
too
never
much
goes
money
down.
in the system. There's
Inflation
too
never
much
goes
money in the
down.
system.
It steadies. It steadies. It's just not going up as fast as it was before. So, but yes, yes,
It's
you could
down from
say
a
that.
year ago. It's down from a year
Right.
ago.
But eggs are still 300%, more expensive than they were.
If my eggs for a dozen and a half are still $8, $9 each, that's a problem. Now, if they're $5, I'm okay with that. I haven't gotten eggs in a while. Last time was $9. The time before that was $5. And there's a little wrinkle there. There's a little wrinkle there because um the egg industry, you can do your research on this, is being sued by the US government for price manipulation. That's a whole different conversation, but that's also led to the fluctuation in the egg prices. You guys, our community, go ahead, Google it, do your own research. fact check me on that. However, what I do want to say in regards to this particular topic, in regards to people of color, specifically
Hmm.
black folks are seeing that there are things at the Republican Party that offer more, that affect their kitchen table issues, their pocketbooks, their wallets, their accounts, their investments than what the Democrats are offering. And that's a challenge for the Democrats, for Biden, even though the economy is doing better, even though things are looking better into the near future. That's a challenge. But in the final note, this is from my mother for the Democrats. She said, get out there and vote. Just get out there and vote Democrat. So I had to
Oh,
put
see, now you had to put that part in. Yeah,
I
they're
had
going
to
to go
put
out
that
and
in.
vote, but
I
they're
said
going
it
to
was from my
Republican.
mom.
I already told you. Listen.
I had to do a disclaimer. It was from my mother, a
Oh, that's
true
fine. Your mother. I love your
contrite
mother.
Democrat.
But listen, I haven't even met your mother when she was down in town, but I mean, I love
Yeah,
your
you
mother
didn't.
because when we talk about her,
Uh,
she's definitely got her stuff together. And
and that's a show
but
unto itself.
oh, she needs to. I mean, she needs to come on. She needs to blast me because I mean, I'm sure she has plenty of things to say to me. But listen, I again, David, you're right about gerrymandering. I will not argue that, but it happens on
Hmm.
both sides.
Hmm.
Everything that we've talked about happens on both sides. Um, you're just going to have to know that Biden's going to have, Biden and Clinton, Biden and Trump are going to have something in common. They're going to have Trump's going to have two numbers of president, and you know he's going to be the guy that sits there right in between the Trump administrations.
Okay. All right. We shall see.
So every day I think, hey, how can they turn it around over there? And I just can't see it. So, but David, no, great topic. I appreciate it. Look, we got to get out there and vote. People, this is your duty to your country. Only term limits that we should ever have is your vote because you should be informed and you should be out there voting, um, and stop blaming the system. Blame yourself for not showing up. Thank you very much. Please like, please share. That's my final comment. Just vote, 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 and get our newsletter and everything else.
I'm with you on that, Joel. Get out there, Orange County, Central Florida. I know you all are revving up for a very exciting election cycle. Get out there and vote, like Joel said, like my mom said. Exercise your civic responsibility. This is You Can't Make This Shit Up. That's Joel Hawksley. I'm David Washington. Please subscribe to our newsletter, the Informer newsletter. Comes out every month. We're getting new authors to the newsletter. Thank you, Danielle, for the latest edition. We really appreciate it. Don't forget, we have our blog on our website, and of course, the rest of our J&W network properties.
Mhm.
We'll see you the next time. Like, share, hit the notification button, and don't forget to comment. We want to hear your thoughts. Bring your facts, not your feelings.